Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. Good. Anybody else need one?
You're good. It's all good. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Daddy.
I'll tell you when he gets off the elevator. That's go crazy.
Always.
Chief. Yeah. It is the chief doing it. It is the chief doing it during your press conference.
You ready?
Yeah.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3.
He's walking in now. He's walking in now.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Rodarius Malden, Public Information Officer for the Birmingham Police Department. Thank you all for joining us. Today you'll hear from Interim Chief Scott Thurman on details from a recent double homicide that we had this recent weekend. Chief.
Good afternoon. On Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, at approximately 5 p.m., the bodies of Cynthia Burt, 62 years of age, and her grandson, Desmond Burt Jr., 3 years of age, were found inside a residence located in the 4900 block of Hillman Drive. After an extensive investigation by the Birmingham Police Department, the case was submitted to the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, Bessemer Division, and 2 capital murder warrants were obtained against Desmond Burt Sr., 31 years of age. The warrants have no bond, and Desmond Burt Sr. is currently in the Birmingham City Jail awaiting transfer to the Jefferson County Jail. Desmond Burt Sr. is the son of Cynthia Burt and the father of Desmond Burt Jr. The City of Birmingham and the Birmingham Police Department would like to extend our most sincerest condolences to the family and to the community. I would like to give special thanks to the officers of the West Precinct, the Homicide Unit investigators, and our Crime Scene Unit for the hard work and dedication in this case.
Can you share with us how they were murdered?
I can't give a cause of death at this time. I mean, it was a murder, so basically I can tell you.
Is there a weapon? Were you guys able to retrieve anything, any evidence of the scene?
Those kind of things are near and dear to the case, wouldn't jeopardize the investigation at this point in time.
Do you know of a cause or any kind of reasoning to believe that he would want to kill his son and mother?
I mean, all we can say at this point was a domestic situation.
Did the baby live with her full time?
I don't have that information.
Are you guys searching for anybody else? Or
No, there are no other suspects in this case.
Can you tell us where Desmond Burt Sr. was taken into custody?
At the scene on Sunday.
So he was still there when the police got there?
Yes, ma'am. And then he was questioned here at Birmingham Police Headquarters.
Was there any evidence on him?
There again, that's something that would jeopardize the investigation at this point in time.
you guys were originally responding to a welfare check. Was he the one who made that original call?
No, he was not.
But he was there when you guys were met with family members at the scene. He was one of them?
Yes.
With other family members?
Yes.
Did they seemingly know what he had done?
No.
Was he acting like he had not done anything?
I can't get into that at this point in time.
Does he suffer from any mental issues?
I don't have that information at this point in time, just simply because I didn't speak to him.
Have you all received any information that he had recently had brain surgery?
I believe there was a situation where he did have a recent surgery, yes.
Obviously, it's devastating when we hear of a 6-year-old woman and a small child murdered like this. Can you just speak a little bit about what this scene was like and, why a homicide like this is so, upsetting for the community, for the officers, I'm sure, for everybody involved, the family?
Well, for the community, I mean, for something to happen in your community where there's normally peace and quiet and you want to feel safe in your home, and then something like this occurs, it's very startling and unsettling. So it's very difficult for them. It's very difficult for the family. They've lost 2 family members and have another family member that's now been charged in their murders. And for our investigators and our officers, it's very difficult because those are lasting impressions that you can't get out of your mind. And so those are things that stick with you for the rest of your life, and they're oftentimes very difficult to deal with. So in situations like that, like in this particular case, we have a peer support group. And so the peer support group will be speaking with our investigators and our officers to help them work through this situation.
Have the other family members, did they seem shocked by his arrest or anything?
I don't have their, how they reacted.
Do they have a history at this house or this family?
I'm not aware of any history there now.
Did he have any other children, or were there nobody else was at the home at the time of the murder?
Correct.
Was there any signs of a struggle inside of the house?
There again, I mean, that's going to be things that, only the people involved in this situation would have information about, so that would jeopardize the case at this point in time.
Did he confess at all or anything?
No.
Would you say in recent years, this is a domestic situation, do you think the city of Birmingham is having issues with domestic violence at this time?
Historically, there's always been issues with domestic violence, basically in all larger cities. It's no larger than it's been in years past. It's just a difficult situation when you have this occur between family members.
Is it normal for a welfare check to turn into more than a welfare check?
They can go either way. There's a lot of times, maybe somebody's just passed away from natural causes. It could be, a situation of maybe there's a gas leak in the home. There's a number of different ways they could turn out. We don't often have them turn out to be murders, no.
Were they in the same room, or were they, I guess this maybe would be more of a corner question, but did they die in relatively the same time?
We believe they died at the same time, yes, or, in close proximity.
Did you get the time of likely when the incident occurred?
It was prior to us finding them, maybe a day or so. Just don't have an exact time at this point in time. That's something that the coroner's office would be able to assist us with.
Did the investigation say or turn up when anybody had last seen them alive?
Yes,
Which was when?
several days prior. So we're thinking Friday, maybe.
Well, and playing off of Jake's question about domestic violence, I know that's usually some of the most dangerous calls for officers to go on are domestic violence calls because they can accelerate into other things. Is that, ever a concern since we are kind of seeing some heightened domestic violence crimes since the pandemic?
All calls are really of concern for us because sometimes you can go to the most simplest call that turn out to be the biggest things, and we kind of spoke about that not too long ago, of just officers have to use caution on all calls they go to. Sometimes you can go to an animal complaint. It turns out to be a terrible situation. You just never know what a situation is going to turn out to be when you arrive on scene. So officers just have to be careful at all times.
But overall, no threat to any of the other remaining family members?
No, we don't have no threats to the community or any other family members at this point in time.
How cooperative has he been? Does he understand what has happened?
He's been somewhat cooperative. I mean, he did give a statement to us, and I just have to leave it at that.
Has he got an attorney yet?
I'm not aware of that.
And I know you said, I apologize, where is he being held?
He's currently in the Birmingham City Jail, and then he'll be transferred to Jefferson County Jail later this evening.
Thank you.
And what charges?
2 charges of capital murder, no bond.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I may have one more. I know you haven't given the cause of death and all that, but hospitals here in Birmingham are getting $1 million in funding to fight gun violence and stuff. In your time, I know you've only been the interim for a short amount of time, but would you say that gun violence is not only a problem here in Birmingham, but really throughout the United States right now?
Oh, most definitely. And so that's why we've increased the relationship that we have with our federal partners to fight gun violence, because we realize that it's not just a Birmingham problem, and we're going to need help from other entities to fight this problem. So our federal partners, working with the Sheriff's Department, state of Alabama, it's a collective fight against gun violence.
Would you say it's not just gun violence, but we're starting to see it's a double homicide. We're seeing more violent crimes really throughout the country. Would you say violence has gone up as well, from your perspective?
Well, yeah, and COVID had an impact on that to a degree too. I mean, there's just a number of factors that have had an impact on it. You know, when COVID hit, a lot of the programs that we had for people ended because of close contact with one another and things of that. So now, hopefully, we can get back to instituting a lot of those programs that we had in place in the past to assist with that. Just a lot of things have changed just in our world in the last 2 years, and so there's just a number of issues.
Would you say conflict resolution is needed now more than ever?
It is, and that's just a number. You know, there's gun violence, there's conflict resolution. There's just a number of issues to deal with, and you know, unfortunately, the police department can't handle all of those. Some of those are just community issues. You know, families have to mentor those in the family, the other family members, the children. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to take care of a village. And so that's where we need our community members to be stakeholders and have a part in this as well, because the Birmingham Police Department can't solve all the problems of the city of Birmingham. The community must be involved and for us all to be successful.
Now,
Can you confirm, though, that gun violence was not involved in this case?
Correct.
I know that gun violence, you know, wasn't involved in this case, but we did see a lot of gun violence over the weekend. It was a little bit of there were a couple, you know, cases out of Birmingham and then other cities, of course. I guess overall, when you have violent weekends or maybe multiple deaths in a weekend, multiple shootings in a weekend, and then you come on to a double homicide, is that frustrating for you guys to just have weekends that seem so much busier than most? I feel like bursts of crime.
Well, they're always frustrating. Even if it's just one shooting or one homicide, it's frustrating because it's something that we deal with every day. So one is too many. So it's always frustrating for us. But it doesn't stop us from doing our jobs and doing everything we can. And this is the prime example of had some gun violence during the weekend, and these detectives worked, along with our officers, worked very diligently to bring closure to this case, and we're able to. So regardless of what has occurred, we're always going to do our best and work our hardest to bring closure to our cases.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.